We're coming up on 5:39 this morning, and we're asking where's the money this holiday shopping season? Good morning and happy Monday. Online sales are bringing in historic sales right now, but there's been a misconception that most people prefer filling their cart on their cell phones compared to in the store. It's a myth that Pew Research is here to bust. So starting with this, trends have almost always shown that people buy more in that last quarter of the year. Now, the data for this year's shopping habits is still being pulled, so we're going to take a look at 2022. That's when online sales saw a 23% jump between October and December. Now, across the nation, that dollar amount comes in at about $303 billion. Still, in that same fourth quarter of 2022, retail stores only saw about 16% of their sales coming from computers. Now, there's another clue that I want to clue you in on here, an important factor to keep in mind. When this information in this research is being gathered, it's actually including places that have both a storefront and stores that are strictly online. So among retailers that do have physical stores, online sales rose as well, but the jump just looks different depending on what stores we're talking about. That's nearly 9% at general merchandise stores like your Walmart, your Target, about 5% at food and beverage stores, and then about 4.5% at those health and personal care stores. So it's why we're asking this morning, when it comes to your gift shopping, did you shop for gifts online or in person this year? Make sure you text us at 704-329-3600.
Well, did you have any aches or pains that resurfaced with all the rain and cold temperatures? Well, there might actually be a scientific reason for that. Here's Megan Bragg with this morning's Verify Fact Check.
Have you ever heard of weather-related joint pain? Our chief meteorologist posted this on his Facebook page, and it's gotten over 200 comments and shares. It's believed that changes in barometric pressure can trigger certain sensations in your joints. So let's get the facts. Our sources are WCNC Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich and the Cleveland Clinic. Last weekend, the Carolinas were hit by a massive area of low pressure and an accompanying storm called a nor'easter. Panovich says it's that low atmospheric pressure that can really bring the pain.
When there's high pressure, it's like having a mountain of air above your head. When there's low pressure, the atmosphere is actually thinner, so there's less air pushing on your body.
A Cleveland Clinic study on people who live with arthritis found that their aches increased on days with higher humidity, lower barometric pressure, and stronger winds. But why is this?
People that have injuries or arthritis, they have fluid or voids in their joints. And what happens is when the pressure goes down, those voids or fluids expands. So it puts a little pressure on your joint and causes discomfort or pain.
And in the wintertime, Panovich says that's when you feel it the most.
You throw in the fact that it's cold outside and people tend to feel things a little more when it's chilly.
So next time your body is aching, check the WCNC weather app. You might be able to blame it on the weather. With your Verify Fact Check, I'm Megan Bragg.
If you have something you would like verified, just email us at verify@wcnc.com.
With your help, WCNC Charlotte is making a difference in our community.
Beautiful day, so many people helping. This is incredible.
Let's spread that love tonight.
Here is a $5,000 check that you guys can use to further the mission.
There is nothing on earth like the feeling of giving back with your hands.
$5,000 to you and Block Love Charlotte for what you guys do.
If you'd like to make a difference, go to WCNC.com/make-a-difference now.
Concerns about housing affordability as companies continue to buy up property in Mecklenburg County. A new survey shows community members want regulations for corporate landlords. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is asking, where's the money, as county commissioners work to address the issue.
Both homeowners and non-homeowners weighed in on this new survey, and most of them say their communities have been negatively impacted by corporate landlords for several reasons, but the primary concern is housing affordability. Non-homeowners are disappointed in rising rent prices and landlords making it difficult to save money and purchase a home. People who are homeowners say corporate landlords are absentee owners that don't care about property maintenance and customer service, and it leads to high resident turnover in their neighborhoods. The UNC Charlotte Urban Institute presented these findings to the Mecklenburg County Board of Commissioners, including what residents want to see happen next.
There were several actions recommended. These included regulating corporate landlords, taxing corporate landlords, prohibiting them from purchasing single-family homes, addressing affordable housing, and increasing education on the topic.
The Board of Commissioners agreed there was value in hearing from the community, but it would be some time before any immediate actions could be taken.
But we value this part where we actually speak to constituents and speak to the community and get their feedback. And we don't just go, here's what you need. We hear from them.
The board, however, has decided to prioritize educating residents on these issues.
There were some things that were, I think, teed up today that are actionable. Starting with education, I think that's the low-hanging fruit.
Right now, commissioners want to let residents know what resources and tools are available to them right now, while they continue to collect data and figure out what can be done to help on the county level. For WCNC Charlotte, I'm Destiny Richards.
Trending this morning, 2023 was a big year for the restaurant industry. The last few years have been, of course, tough, with people slowly returning to in-person dining because of the pandemic.
So as we near the end of 2023, we're taking a look at what some high-profile chefs are saying were the biggest food trends of the year. So the Wall Street Journal reports Indian food was the food of the year. For the first time, Americans are really embracing Indian cuisine from all over India. Chefs are saying this isn't a moment, though, it's a movement.
Very good.
Yes.
Another trend we saw, a return to hospitality. There's been a major push with the industry right now to bring back the dining experience. So physical menus, they're back.
Okay.
No more the QR codes, thank goodness, that you scan on your phone. Seat yourself signs now being replaced with an actual human who will greet you and actually walk you to your table. A welcome change for all of us trying to feel normal again.
We also saw the rise of pop-ups as more restaurants became COVID casualties. A lot of high-level cooks were left without jobs. So pop-ups, are different than your average restaurant because they're only open for a limited time. These pop-ups gave regular people the chance to eat incredible food from incredible chefs at affordable prices. And those chefs had the opportunity to get out and feed the people in their communities. It was a great year for food, and we know we can't wait to see what happens in 2024. So this morning, we want to know, what was your favorite meal you had this year? Let us know. 704-329-3600.
Good to see the industry get back to normal.
I know, right?
It's been a long few years.
Yes, we should go out to eat today.
I know,
Ben.
we have a nice little setup shop here, a little morning date here at the WCNC Cafe. Larry Spriggle's today by. He's got a check of your forecast.
Verify, WCNC Charlotte.
Verify is all about trying to make a difference in the community by making sure that the community has the correct information. This is what we know. And hey, this is what we don't know. Sometimes you're actually surprised by the answer.
Verify the difference.
Verify is a great way to combat that misinformation, making sure that people know the process of the reporting.
Big changes could be coming to Belmont, but the future of its downtown remains uncertain. The prominent Stowe family plans to sell a piece of land in the downtown area. Ahead of listing the property, though, they and nearby property owners worked with the architect to come up with a plan that would drastically change that area. That plan has just won an award. And as Julia Kaufman reports, there's some new concerns over what it could mean for that small town.
The plan to expand and change downtown Belmont was presented to city leaders a year ago. A recent article on the design by an organization called Congress for the New Urbanism has stirred the topic back up, but nothing has been approved yet.
Belmont is busy on a Friday, and people in town are buzzing about this. A plan to expand and rearrange downtown using the sale of this vacant land behind businesses on Main Street as a catalyst.
Historical Concepts won an award for this plan, and it was written up in a journal, and you've probably seen a copy of that, or certainly it's all over social media.
Robert Stowe says he and other downtown property owners worked together to come up with a plan to redevelop the area and hired an architect to conceptualize it.
There is quite a bit of underutilized property, plus there's a parking problem, which this plan addresses.
Stowe's family is selling the 10 acres. The plan is an idea to show developers the land's potential, with promise of working with nearby businesses for possibly an even bigger transformation.
Once we have a buyer, then the buyer will determine what they're going to do with the property.
The plan includes new businesses, apartments, parking decks, and relocating City Hall to extend roads. While it's just a concept, it has people talking.
I would like more restaurants preferably, but I think we're good on apartments for now.
Belmont is growing, and Jackie Sterkula worries more apartments would worsen already bad traffic.
It takes like 2 hours to get anywhere.
Andrew Aiken hopes whoever buys the property will preserve some of the woods.
I mean, that's really beautiful land, so you kind of hate to see that turn into just a big shopping center.
None of these plans have been formally submitted to the city. Stowe tells me he's working with a broker to get the land on the market soon. In Belmont, Julia Kaufman, WCNC Charlotte.
Own a car in North Carolina, then you know you have to get your car inspected every year, and that inspection may include an emissions test. But could this soon change? Here's Megan Bragg with this morning's Verify Fact Check.
We got a text message sent to us from someone who heard the emissions test for vehicles is being eliminated in North Carolina counties. But what does this really mean for drivers? Let's get the facts.
Our sources are the EPA and the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality. The EPA says the yearly emissions test program helps maintain federal air quality standards in the state. However, the 2023 state budget bill that passed back in October could eliminate emissions testing in 18 of the 19 North Carolina counties that currently require them. The only county that would continue to require emissions tests would be Mecklenburg County. Despite the fact that the bill passed, the emissions provision is still not in effect. The Department of Environmental Quality must first submit its 2023 State Implementation Plan amendment to the EPA. The EPA would then have to approve the amendment before it could take effect. So we're talking a few years from now. And plenty of vehicles in North Carolina are already exempt from emissions testing. It's only required, as we said, in 19 out of the 100 counties in the state. And even in those counties, there are vehicles that don't have to pass emissions tests. Any vehicle that is 20 years or older, exempt. Diesel operated or registered as a farm vehicle, also exempt. If you want to know if your car must pass an emissions test in order to pass inspection, reach out to the NCDMV. With your Verify Fact Check, I'm Megan Bragg.
If you have something you would like verified, just email us at verify@wcnc.com.
Thank you.
Ooh, we're in the 30s right now.
Yeah, it's cold. And I think there's snow being made right now.
Oh, yeah, they're making a ton of snow up there in the mountains right now. It's really cold in a lot of neighborhoods. We've been below freezing since 9 o'clock in many locations. Charlotte's the warm spot at 34, which should tell you a lot because most other areas are already in the 20s. And that's the story overnight. Clear and very cold. We're going to drop down the upper teens to low 20s. We had the coldest high temperature of the season so far today at just 46. Tonight, we'll see if we can drop below 21, get that coldest night of the season so far. Sunny and seasonable the next couple of days, and then we'll see that warm up into the weekend as temperatures will probably get close to 60 degrees in a few spots, all depending on how much sun we're going to see, but also the chance of maybe some Monday rain for the holiday. You can see mostly clear skies. We mentioned how dry it is out there, and the temperatures, again, 34 in Charlotte, but I can tell you many areas are already colder than that out there. So when you wake up tomorrow, just make sure you have time. You're going to have to scrape the car, get it warmed up, get yourself ready to go. Dog's not going to want to go outside, but during the afternoon, nice turnaround as temperatures get back into the maybe low 50s in a few spots, but probably upper 40s to near 50, just a little bit warmer than what we had today. That high begins to shift off to the east. The one thing that could keep us cooler the next couple days, like I mentioned, any cloud cover would block out the sun by day. That could keep us probably in the upper 50s as opposed to 60. But at night, that has the reverse impact. It actually helps trap a little bit of heat and could keep us warmer. But I do expect some pretty chilly nights and some better days. Now, over the next couple of days, we're bone dry, but you can see by Christmas, which is Monday into the 26th and 27th, that's when we're going to see our rain chances really ramp up. Hoping we can push this out of Christmas Day to keep it completely dry. There are some signs that the storm system would slow down. So plenty of high pressure in between now and the start of the weekend. You can see a few showers trying to break out Saturday and Sunday, but Christmas Eve looks dry. We wake up Christmas morning, should be dry except for maybe a few areas of drizzle. But as the day goes on, I actually anticipate rain will pick up and it becomes pretty consistent by the time we get into Tuesday. Could be a good soaker. Nothing like we've seen the last 2 weeks, but certainly another good soaker. And then on the backside, at the end of next week, some colder air. So as we look at that holiday weekend forecast, Sunday into Monday, looking at the warmest day probably being Christmas Eve at 62, then 55 for Christmas Day. And notice the chance of rain late in the day on Monday. I'm hoping we can even slow that thing down more, as I mentioned, and get it out of here. But Long term next week, the jet stream has a huge ridge over the eastern half of the country. So you see all the warmth here, way above average temperatures from the Great Lakes to the Northeast. So if you're traveling anywhere in the eastern part of the country, nothing like last year. We're not going to see the deep freeze at all. And it does look like the pattern will stay wet as well. This is your typical El Nino storm track. So we're looking at probably above average rainfall. So two things you'll notice for Christmas week. It's going to be wet and likely slightly above average for this time of the year. So tomorrow we'll start the warm up. I expect in the mountains temperatures probably back into the 40s. We'll see temperatures getting close to 50 in a few spots, maybe 51 with enough cloud cover out there. Again, much warmer than it was today and closer to our average, which is 54. Your Guy Roofing 7-day forecast shows those temperatures warming back up. We'll be closer to 60 on Thursday, some more clouds Friday into Saturday, but then let's go 10 days in the future. So you can see the week between Christmas and New Year's, temperatures actually warming up into the low 60s post-Christmas.
All right, thanks for that look there, Brad. Appreciate it.
WCNC Charlotte.
Weather is a kind of science that you get to see and experience every day. And I think some people don't even realize how much it affects them. That weather has a huge impact on how it threatens your family, your livelihood, or your home. So I think it really is one of those defining things we do that really affects everybody in our community.
See the difference.
That process of giving you a warning ahead of time and keeping you and your family safe is really important to me because I live here too. It's my family, it's my friends, it's my neighbors.
Now to a developing story we've been following all day. Tonight, the State Bureau of Investigation looking into a deadly shooting that involves CMPD. That shooting happened along Catherine Simmons Avenue in North Charlotte just this morning. WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris joins us live from the scene where he's been all day. Miles, we appreciate that, but what are the community members saying to you tonight?
Well, Colin, this is definitely a rude awakening for neighbors in this North Charlotte community, and I got a chance to talk to a handful of them this morning. Many of them are upset that a life was lost following this incident, and now they're demanding more resources and a better connection with law enforcement, as well as city leaders in efforts to really prevent something like this from happening again.
According to investigators, officers responded to a call of shots being fired along Catherine Simmons Avenue just after 6 a.m. on Saturday morning. When they arrived, officers located a man pointing a gun at another man. CMPD Chief Johnny Jennings says that his officers asked the man to drop the gun, but he didn't.
At some point, it is indicated that the individual did raise the firearm, and officers at that time did fire multiple shots at the individual and later found that individual deceased inside of a residence.
The North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation now looking into the shooting as its standard protocol when an officer is involved. Leandra Garrett with the Alternatives to Violence program devastated to hear about a deadly shooting within an area she grew up in.
It's very heartbreaking because we canvass here every day and we work here every day. So 9 times out of 10, we know exactly who it is that this happened to.
And for neighbors who still live in the area, like Cedric Dean, their concern on law enforcement's response stems from a lack of communication and understanding the area.
We engage these people every day, and we out here with them, but we cannot get the police to work with us.
Both Garrett and Dean have a boots-on-the-ground, active approach in helping serve their community, and Dean believes that their work calls for more from city officials.
We need them to start being proactive instead of reactive, right? You know, we need them to show this family down here that they really care about a mental health matter, because mental health truly matters.
Colin, the Internal Affairs Bureau, they will conduct a separate but parallel investigation from this incident, and no word yet from investigators on who the two men involved were or their relation. For now, live here in North Charlotte, I'm Miles Harris, WCNC Charlotte.
Yeah, tough to listen to from that family and others involved there. Miles, thank you for that report. Thanks for coming back now for the news at 5:30. I'm Colin Mayfield.
And I'm Vanessa Rufus. We start this half hour here as travel season ramps up for the winter holidays. TSA agents say they're spotting more and more firearms at airport checkpoints.
Yeah, and that issue, it hitting home as Charlotte Douglas Airport has already seen more firearms come through compared to last year. WCNC Charlotte's Miles Harris tells us how authorities plan to put a dent in this disturbing trend.
TSA agents at Charlotte Douglas, they're gearing up to see a lot more travelers go through these checkpoints as the holiday traveling season is officially underway. And an important part of their job is making sure that firearms don't go through.
We're asking people to really pay attention to what they're bringing with them.
to the security checkpoint and to the airport in general.
Mark Howell with TSA says there's a right way to travel with a firearm, but not enough people are doing it. It's an issue airports throughout the country are seeing, firearms being detected at security checkpoints. And right here at Charlotte Douglas International, 118 firearms have been stopped at checkpoints, surpassing last year's number of 117. Mark Howell breaking down what happens when TSA agents spot a firearm in someone's luggage.
It's going to slow things down for everybody. What happens when we have a firearm is we're going to call law enforcement in to remove it because 90% of the time it's loaded. So for everybody's safety, we're going to let law enforcement remove that firearm and the passenger from the area.
Here's the safe way to travel with a firearm. It should be in a hard-sided case with padding and completely unloaded. The firearm also has to be declared at the ticket counter prior to flying. Larry Hyatt with Hyatt Guns says they have products to help travelers avoid any issues.
But if you want to take your gun with you on a trip, we've got these special